What is female rage?
It was my life.
If you want to stop me, you're gonna have to fucking kill me!
Is it a raw, powerful performance, an actress pouring out all the pain and fury her character has been carrying through the story?
And I work like a dog, day and night, living off a coffee from a pot none of you want to touch!
Or is it a sleek TikTok montage of women screaming, set to dramatic classical music?
Please, I'ma stop! You fucking hate me! So do I!
Or is it something entirely different? In recent years, the internet has been flooded with articles, videos, TikToks, and YouTube edits, all ranking and celebrating films that depict female rage. Lists, montages, and mood boards, screaming women, violent women, vengeful women. As a feminist and a film critic, I have been genuinely fascinated by the rising popularity of enraged women on screen. It seems like at this point, everyone has their own idea of what female rage looks like. But I kept asking myself, what does it actually mean? And for me, it all clicked with one particular film, or rather with something that the lead actress said about it. So in this video, I want to take a closer look at one scene, and through it, explore what female rage in film really is, and why we are so obsessed with watching it. Hi everyone, my name is Alona Shilova and you're watching Femme Fatale's Heels channel, where we talk about women, film and women in film. Make sure to like this video and leave a comment, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. It really helps the videos reach more people and I'd be super grateful for your support. Before we get to that scene, the one that perfectly crystallizes the essence of female rage, I want to take a moment to trace the roots of this phenomenon and explore why it has captured so much attention in recent years. Let's start with a simple notion. Women have always been angry. The reason? Centuries of oppression and patriarchy at the hands of men. And this anger didn't just appear in modern cinema or feminist theory. It was already burning in texts written hundreds of years ago. Long before modern feminism, female rage was vividly portrayed in ancient stories, like Euripides' play Medea, where a wife takes a bloody revenge on her unfaithful husband. This myth has echoed through centuries as one of the earliest cultural examples of a woman's fury breaking societal bounds. In the Vice article The History of Female Anger, writer Stasa Edwards traced one of the earliest expressions of female rage all the way back to the 16th century, and to a woman who may have been born for the role, Jane Anger. In 1589, Jane published a pamphlet titled Protection for Women, where she called out the ignorance of her male counterparts, their lazy stereotypes about women and their arrogance in mistaking assumptions for facts. She didn't write her text to debate men or win them over. She wrote it to do the one thing women weren't supposed to do, to express her anger. As she boldly puts it herself, it was anger that did write it. Jane's writing was radical for its time, sharp, furious, and unapologetically direct. She criticized men for their lust, their hypocrisy, and their refusal to stop portraying women as witless sluts. One of her most cutting lines reads, "Fie on the falsehood of men, whose minds go oft a-madding, and whose tongues cannot so soon be wagging but straight, they fall a-railing. Was there even any so abused, so slandered, so railed upon, or so wickedly handled undeservedly as are we women?" Even today, scholars still debate whether Jane Anger was a real name, a pseudonym, or even a man writing under a woman's voice. But as Edwards writes, that seems unlikely, because really, could any man write with such fire and then give the credit to a woman? Jane's pamphlet would become one of the first recorded literary expressions of women's frustration under patriarchy, especially the way cultural perceptions shaped their roles in relationships and society. Honestly, I don't want to make this historical overview too long because my main focus is on films and there are literally hours of historical examples that could be discussed. We also have a video about rape and revenge films where I mentioned some of the earliest female artists who explored these themes, so feel free to check that one out. I also want to say that during my research for this video, I came across many discussions pointing out that the idea of female rage, as we often see it in the media, is mostly connected to white women. When it comes to black women, it's more complex topic. For example, I only recently learned that black women's anger is often seen through the angry black woman stereotype, which is harmful and creates extra challenges for portraying a black woman's anger in more complex and authentic ways that empower and resonate with audiences. As a Ukrainian woman from a predominantly white country, I don't feel I have the right or background to fully speak on this subject. So I will leave links to relevant materials in the video description because I believe it's an important part of a larger conversation about female rage in film. And also, if you know some authors, interesting materials, videos on this topic, please mention them in the comments. I will be more than happy to include them in the description. While writing the script for this video, I looked for films that could be considered some of the earliest portrayals of female rage on screen. There were plenty of options, like pre-code black and white drama The Bitter Tea of General Yen from 1933, which features a female protagonist expressing anger and emotions in a politically charged setting. Then there is Carrie by Brian De Palma, where female rage literally bursts into flames. I talked more about Carrie in our video on feminist body horror, so you know what to watch next. And of course, Thelma and Louisa from 1991, a classic story where female anger turns into radical freedom. But still something didn't sit right with me. I wasn't sure what exactly I was looking for. How should a woman be portrayed in a film about female rage? Does she need to scream and point a gun at a man? Is a dramatic, furious stare enough? Does she have to come out victorious in the end, or die tragically as punishment for her anger? As much as I was fascinated by the idea of female rage, I never quite knew how to talk about it until I saw this scene.
That everyone would die.
Everyone would die. You had a date. You seem to remember you had a date. Not the young woman here tonight. So, what happened to her? Your date.
She broke up with me, Shep.
So you brought Margot.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
That's just because you don't offer seatings for one.
So you hired her knowing she'd die.
Yes.
I don't need them. I gotta go! Tyler!
As simple as the scene might seem, its full meaning and my deeper understanding of female rage in cinema only came after hearing a comment from Anya Taylor-Joy, the actress who played the lead role. It's an episode from The Menu 2022, where Anya's character Margot finds out that Tyler, played by Nicholas Hoult, brought her to certain death, fully aware of the danger. Her reaction feels natural, completely understandable. This man used her trust and essentially signed her death sentence. But what if I told you that the scene was originally meant to play out very differently? It was scripted that Anya's character would respond with a single tear rolling down her cheek. In an interview for GQ, the actress recalled, "What planet are we living on? I was like, let me explain to you. I'm going to leap across the table and try and literally kill him with my bare hands."
And I remembered like pulling Mark aside and saying, "I'm really sorry, but the only way to play this truthfully is for me to like attack him." And he was like, "Oh, you mean like this?" And I was like, no, like I'm gonna
Have at him.
And that's when it all clicked for me. Thanks to that explanation, I finally understood what female rage in film truly meant, at least to me. While reading discussions about this topic on social media, I noticed something interesting. Even women themselves sometimes argue in the comments that it's sexist to give rage a gender, that anger is just an emotion, and both men and women and non-binary people feel it the same way, that how someone expresses rage depends on the individual, not their gender. And while I partly agree with that, I think these comments miss the point. Female rage in film isn't about saying only women feel anger. It's about giving female characters the space to express it naturally and truthfully. Cinema, like most things in the world, has been shaped by male perspectives, and that means female emotions has often been limited to what men are comfortable seeing. She can cry, she can stare stoically out the window, but she can't scream, she can't lash out at the man who hurt her. Or, as we have seen in many older films, when a woman shows intense anger, it's often seen as hysteria. She turns into someone wild and out of control, a threat that has to be stopped, usually by a man, in order to restore balance. A clear example is Fatal Attraction from 1987, where Glenn Close plays a woman fully of rage after being rejected by her lover. Her character is shown as dangerous and unstable, and in the end she has to be killed. We talked more about this kind of monstrous woman, the one who has to be silenced, punished, or gotten rid of, in our video on feminist body horror, so there's a reminder to check that one out. And this simple but powerful realization that women in film have only recently been allowed to express their anger, frustration, and dissatisfaction felt both surprising and honestly a little sad. I know this isn't some groundbreaking discovery, I'm not getting a Pulitzer for it, but for me it was a moment of clarity that helped me understand exactly how I see female rage in film. In the same interview with GQ, Anya Taylor-Joy talked about how the theme of female rage has come through in some of her other roles as well. I have developed a bit of reputation for fighting for feminine rage, which is a strange thing because I'm not promoting violence, but I'm promoting women being seen as people. We have reactions that are not always dainty or unmessy, she says.
I have a thing about feminine rage, which people think, for some reason, and this is with no disrespect to any writer, I get a lot of like men doing really terrible things and women sitting silently whilst like one tear like slowly falls. And I'm like, oh no, we get mad and angry.
Which is also reminded me of this Gaga's iconic quote.
I don't believe in the glorification of murder. I do believe in the empowerment of women.
Anya Taylor-Joy first stood up for female rage in her feature film debut, Robert Eggers' The Witch. In one scene, her character Thomasine was originally supposed to cry after being dragged away from her family's home and accused of being the evil that had entered the house. But Taylor-Joy said she simply couldn't produce any tears in that moment, and it made her question why her character was even expected to cry. She is angry, she is fucking pissed. She's been blamed time and time again, and she's not doing anything. We have to stop with the crying, the actress recalled. While the director supported her choice, Taylor-Joy said she walked away from the experience with something even more valuable. She learned how to stood up for herself on set. I felt so happy with her. Girl, fly, do your thing, live deliciously. You have earned it. This world is not for you. Reuniting with Eggers on The Northman, Taylor-Joy brought a raw and intense energy to a powerful scene, where her character faces the threat of being forced into sex. monologues. She recalled thinking deeply about all the ways a woman might resist unwanted advances. Then the idea struck her. As Eggers recalls, it was Anya's idea for Olga to douse her hand with her own menstrual blood before slapping Fjolnir in the face, describing it as a very strong, defiant, and memorable choice. In one of her most recent projects to date, George Miller's Furiosa, Taylor-Joy also fought for what was right for her character. She told in the interview that there was a specific scene with a scream in the movie and that she fought to keep that scream in the film for 3 months. I'm not sure about what moment specifically she talks about, but anyway, good for her. So as we move toward the conclusion of the video, in this part I want to mention a few films that, in my opinion, best capture female rage. Probably one of the most popular examples that comes to mind when we talk about female rage in film is the 2022 Pearl. Thanks to Mia Goth's raw and intense performance, scenes featuring her screams and harsh cries appear in almost every edit about female rage. But as much as I love the film and Mia Goth's performance, I think it leans toward the territory where female rage becomes part of the unhinged woman trope. No shade here, I actually love films about unhinged women. I feel seen, I feel heard. Still, this kind of portrayal shows female rage not as something natural, but as something crazy, monstrous, something that completely overwhelms the woman and destroys everything around her. Her anger literally becomes a source of fear and destruction. So, to circle back to what I said earlier, that for me the main value of female rage in films lies in authenticity and realness, I want to mention the movie Mad Max Fury Road. I'm not returning to the character of Furiosa, this time played by Charlize Theron, by accident. While working on the female characters in Mad Max Fury Road, director George Miller consulted with Eve Ensler, the author of the Vagina Monologues. Through the film, Furiosa growls, screams, and roars, expressing herself in ways that are often culturally coded as masculine. And funnily enough, audiences joke that Tom Hardy's character basically spends the entire movie just growling. Theron's character doesn't deliver feminist monologues. She doesn't have to shout out about how tired she is of a violent, male-dominated world. Instead, her rage unfolds wordlessly through action, pain, and resistance. Her anger isn't just reaction to brutality, it's also her fuel. It keeps her alive and keeps her fighting. And that's why I think it's a great example of female rage in a big blockbuster film, because it shows Furiosa as equal to the dangerous world around her. It doesn't make her look hysterical or unreasonable. Her rage feels real and justified. Another interesting example I wanted to mention is the 2021 film Titane, directed by Julia Ducournau. I also talked about this movie in our video on feminist body horror because, first and foremost, it's a body horror film that focuses heavily on physical transformation. But I wanted to bring it up here because of the award it received, the Palme d'Or at the Cannes Film Festival. This prize was presented to director Julia Ducournau by none other than actress Sharon Stone. And in one of their interviews, Stone said,
"Thank you for capturing female rage and anguish and the need on film."
I watched that interview years before making this video, and for some reason it stuck with me. That moment, a woman thanking another woman for portraying rage on screen. And more than that, the portrayal itself felt innovative, unusual, refreshing. And yet the film only came out in 2021, not that long ago. It really makes you think about how, for years, female rage has existed inside a vacuum, shaped and limited by the male gaze, kept within what was considered acceptable or appropriate. And my explanation, and one I think that many women would agree with, is quite simple. Female rage scares men because it's wild, it's uncontrollable, it comes from deep, raw places, and what scares men must be controlled. In Titane, the main character Alexia works as a dancer at a car show. As Julia Ducournau points out in an interview, honestly, I really recommend watching the whole thing. It's incredibly insightful and I will link in the description below. Alexia's job and appearance already create a sense of stigma around her in a male-dominated world.
Because what does she look like? She looks like a victim because she wears thongs, because she dances like the way she dances. She looks like a victim, and the worst part is that doing that, I knew that it would be very obvious for everyone in the room that she has this written on her back, you know, she's a perfect victim. That's where the rage comes from, by the way, this idea that in the public space, which is the case in the parking lot, in the public space, a woman is necessarily a designated victim. I mean, there is no other, no other way. That's why we build up theories, like we hold our keys in our hands, like we try to avoid certain streets, we try to not dress a certain way in order to get out, we wear these big sweater pants and stuff like that. All these strategies mean that we are still not equal. I mean, this is just the basis.
Because of that, we don't need a deep backstory or detailed explanation of her rage and repressed emotions. As a woman existing in a world built by and for men, a world that's dangerous, predatory, her anger is already understandable. What sets Alexia apart from most characters like her is her coldness and completely lack of empathy.
Is that because she lacks this empathy, because she lacks emotions, she's not petrified like we are when we get assaulted. And that's the only reason why she can retaliate and kill that guy. She can retaliate because she does not feel that fear that we all feel. And that's how I launched her.
Because she's so broken.
Because she's so broken, she's so dysfunctional, she's a death drive walking. She has no emotions whatsoever.
Because they are just beaten out of her.
Yeah, exactly.
Again, these are traits often associated with machismo and masculinity, and they are generally accepted when we see them in a man. But when embodied by a woman, they become terrifying, because they clash with the caring, nurturing, obedient persona that the world so often projects onto women. Another thought I have had, and I think I once heard it or read it in an interview related to Julia Ducournau, is that male characters in films are often allowed to be emotionally detached, especially when it comes to empathy or compassion, but still freely express rage as part of their personality, and that rage rarely needs to be explained. It's seen as a natural character trait, maybe a flaw, sure, but not a surprising one. At the same time, I can't help but think, if half of the women on screen reacted the same way Scorsese's male characters do, the list of unhinged women films would double overnight. And I'm not coming for Martin Scorsese here, okay? I'm just pointing out how vastly different the same kind of anger, the same kind of rage feels when it's coming from a woman. So, in conclusion, I want to say that the whole topic, or even subgenre, if you will, of female rage in films is still relatively new. At least that's my opinion when it comes to more realistic or natural depictions. But it's still a very broad topic, and I think it may arise more questions than answers. With this video, I just wanted to share some of my views on this subject and honestly clarify a few things for myself in the process. So I hope I managed to do that. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'd be very grateful for a like and a comment. It might seem like a small action, but it really helps promote the video, and I'd be enormously thankful for your support. Also, I recently enabled the super thanks option, which means that if you'd like to support this channel directly, you can now leave a tip along with your comment. It's completely optional, so only do it if you feel comfortable, but every bit of support brings me closer to my goal of making YouTube my full-time job. And that means more videos, deeper research, and even better content for you in the future. So with that being said, thank you for watching and see you in the next videos. Bye bye!